Hey, Pennsylvania, it's Wine O'Clock on Wine Time, PA. Join Rob, Holly, and Steve as they explore their home state of Pennsylvania and all the wonderful wineries it has to offer. Each month, they take a journey tasting the wines of PA. If you're able, pour a glass of your favorite wine and join us now for Wine Time.
Welcome again, everyone, to another episode of Wine Time, PA. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob, and with me are my friends, Steve.
Oh!
And his lovely wife, Holly.
Hi, everybody.
We are just three everyday wine lovers who want to visit as many of the nearly 400 wineries in our home state of Pennsylvania and to document our journey. It's our goal to feature a different winery each month to tell you a little bit about what you can expect during your visit and to give you, our listeners, some recommendations on wines to try. This month, we're back in the Lehigh Valley region, but don't worry if you're tuning in from the Lake Erie wine region. We still have one more winery from that trip from earlier in this year, and that we'll be featuring next month. But today's winery, we are featuring Sleepy Cat Urban Winery, located in the city of Allentown. We visited in August of 2025, so any information we share is from that time frame. We have to be honest, what first drove us to checking out this winery was the name. The three of us are animal people. I have a cat. I know Holly has a cat, and I think tolerates Steve a little bit.
Yeah, that cat has no love for Steve. Tolerates me is a good word.
But so we are, animal lovers.
She's a good kitty.
and this was a cat themed winery, so we wanted to check them out. And then we started looking at their menu and saw that they had a very wide range and variety of wines, and we knew it would be a good fit for this podcast. The owners, married couple Mark and Carrie, are the proud parents of 5 cats. They said the name comes from when they were all sitting on the couch with their 3 cats at the time, and the cats were sleeping. They made a comment like, "These damn sleepy cats," and in that moment realized it was a perfect name. They will also use cat references in some of their wines' names, which you may notice as we discuss the wine. For example, they have wines called Kitty Catkins, Crooner Ventlinger, which we thought was a cute and a nice touch, and we were told Carrie gets all the credit for the wine names.
Yeah, I love the puns. I especially love that they call the restrooms litter boxes. Although, Of course, they're not actually litter boxes, but, it was really cute.
Yeah, I was a little nervous at first. They're like, the litter boxes are this way. I'm like...
I've never kicked and buried before, so... But yeah, so Mark and Carrie got started into wine. It's kind of an interesting story. They went to wineries and wine festivals. Maybe you sound a little familiar to what we're doing here. But they had an anniversary, and they like to do something, an activity together, rather than buying gifts.
Which is, actually, I thought that was kind of cute, because that's something you and I are like. We don't buy gifts for each other for Christmas or anniversary.
I hate giving gifts, actually. I want experiences.
Yeah, so we do experiences together for anniversaries, birthdays, and Christmases and things like that.
Yeah, and so one year, Carrie got them a winemaking kit and signed them up for winemaking classes. And then some of their friends gave them some raspberries and they started using for wines, and they just kept making wines and serving it to family members during events and such. And there was one family member's retirement party in particular they had mentioned, and people just kept asking where they could get some of this wine. So they joked and said, "Hey, we should start a winery." But they did some research and learned that the price of licensing and everything else involved is really not that bad in Pennsylvania. But they didn't really want to take that plunge. But they sort of stepped in, and Mark got laid off from his job after several years just out of the blue. So they decided, hey, let's give it a whirl. And then they opened their doors in August of 2016. They don't actually own a vineyard or partake in the growing of the grapes. They purchase all of their white wine grapes from Pennsylvania and New York, and the red ones, I believe, all come from Chile. Maybe not, but
I think he said they all came from Chile.
They also mentioned that a lot of the fruit they use in their wine comes from New Jersey. So, most of it's pretty local, especially considering Allentown is, pretty kind of close to New York and New Jersey. Border, yeah. So it's very local, and a good bit does still come from Pennsylvania, which we love to hear. So, and just a fun fact that we found kind of cool. Mark plays Raz, which is a form of poker, in the World Series of Poker and placed 7th in 2022 and ended up at the final table. So, kudos to him. That had to be a pretty awesome experience.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think there's a wine named Raz or something in honor of
I think there might be 2 that have Raz in the name.
Yeah, so it might be worth checking out or ask them about the story. Anyways, the winery room is located in the west side in the city of Allentown, in the theater district, and I think I saw a nearby farmer's market the day we were there happening.
There was a lot going on that day. It was interesting to navigate the town.
Yeah, it was. They're open Wednesdays through Sundays, and you don't need a reservation to visit. Now, the winery is in a smaller commercial strip mall, and there's a few other businesses on there. On the way out, I actually happened to notice an ice cream shop next door. Then on the way out, I was like, if I was hungry, I might have known about that. I might have stopped there, but I wasn't.
That's all right. We got all our calories from wine for the day.
We did. But the atmosphere when you enter, I think it's very fun. It's cheery and colorful. There's this kind of really nice orange color on the walls that really kind of brightens your spirits right away. There's a long bar you can sit at, but there's also some tables and chairs for seating. It's not super big, but there is actually plenty of space. They had some wine racks on display, as well as some merchandise items for sale. And of course, all of that merchandise was cat themed. I surprisingly didn't buy anything the cat theme that day. I'm not sure what deterred me.
But you buy a lot of cat themed stuff, so.
Yeah, true. On the walls, there's some kitty-inspired artwork, and I think even Carrie had mentioned that some of it was painted by her and the customers and things like that.
Oh yeah, we sat next to those. It was everybody did small little pictures, and then they tiled them together. And I actually
gorgeous.
They were all
nice.
really they worked so well together. And a couple of them I really enjoyed.
Yeah, they were super cute. But my favorite was the wall where they had the dedication to their 5 cats. So they had a display. It had pictures of their cats with their names underneath. So overall, I really liked it. I thought it was a very casual place with a really nice kind of chill vibe to it.
And while Mark and Carrie are the owners, they said the 5 cats are the CEOs. And the board members. The board members. So as far as wine tasting goes, they do have a few flight options on their menu. You can do 6 small pours, or you can do larger 2-ounce pours in either 3, 4, or 5 glass flights. Now, when we visited, they had 38 wines on their list, and were broken down in the following categories. They had 12 white wines, 14 red wines, though they said they usually have 15, but the Merlot was not ready that day, but a little bit more on that later this episode. They have 4 rosé wines and 8 wines that are 100% fruit wines. In each section of the wines, too, they do go from driest to sweetest, though all the fruit wines are sweet. The price on a bottle of wine is very reasonable, as well as them starting around $15 and going to $21. So overall, just very affordable for the purchase of wine.
Yeah, it was.
One other thing that they offered that I'd really love to try was a wine and Oreo pairing. It just sounded different and kind of unique. So they basically just paired different types of Oreos with a wine that pairs well with it. I definitely am going to do that the next time when we're not on official business.
I also saw they recently did, I think, a Pop-Tart and wine. They did, they paired Pop-Tarts with the wines and stuff.
That sounds fascinating too, but I do love my Oreos.
Yeah.
So.
Oreos are good too.
Yeah, Holly often has to buy decoy bags of Oreos so that I don't eat them all when she's making them in a treat.
Yeah, if I'm making a dessert with Oreos, then I have to make sure that there's 2 bags so Steve doesn't eat my Oreos that I need to cook with.
I'm not saying it's happened before, but I'm pretty sure it's happened before.
Yes, I would want to make something where are all my Oreos? Chocolate on his face. I don't know what you're talking about.
So their social media also lists some specialty pairings, probably like those Pop-Tarts.
Yep.
And they have at certain times, so be on the lookout for that on their social media accounts. If you're hungry and you don't just want Oreos, they do offer some other solid food options. They have some of your wine snack kind of staples like charcuterie and a cheese board.
Yeah, I mean, my sister joined us on this trip. Shout out Heather.
Hi, Heather.
And she got a cheese and cracker plate, and I kind of nibbled at it, and it was really pretty tasty. Good selection of cheeses and crackers.
Yeah, it looked good. I don't remember partaking, but that's because they also have a selection of 11 paninis and quesadillas, and Holly and I shared a buffalo chicken sandwich, and yeah, it was really good. I could have used a little bit more buffalo sauce, but I pretty much always say that.
You say that all the time.
I literally say that to every buffalo anything I eat.
Well, I actually thought that the buffalo spice add to it was just perfect. Keep with the theme here. I thought it was really nice, but In terms of other drinks, for those who want to know, they had like 5 beer options available, and they were like a nice variety too. If I remember, like there was like an IPA, a lager, so there's a wide range there. They also had some basic mixed drinks, like I think I saw a vodka tonic or rum and coke. They had wine slushies for those who are fans of wine slushies. And I also thought this was interesting. They had wine flavored milkshakes, which I thought was really unique to see that on the menu, because that's something
I missed
you see.
that.
Yeah, I missed that too. That sounds real. I might have tried that just for the uniqueness.
Yeah, I think I saw it, but then we were, again, just focusing on trying as many wines as we could, and I didn't go back to the milkshakes. But I thought that was kind of cool to see. They also had 4 fun-sounding mocktails. So if you're somebody that's really not into alcohol, I really appreciate they had some mocktails. But they also had bottled water and soda as well for those who don't want alcoholic beverages.
All right, well, it's time to talk about the wine itself. In this section, there are 2 parts. In the first, we give our 2 group picks. These are crowd-pleasing wines, ones the 3 of us all enjoyed and think most people would probably enjoy as well. The second part, then, is we give our own personal picks, wines that the 3 of us individually enjoyed. As a reminder, these recommendations are based on our own personal preferences and palates. We are not being paid or endorsed to give these recommendations. And whether you follow our recommendations or not, just remember, drink what you love. So Steve, why don't you kick us off with our first group pick?
Yeah, all right. So it is the Sleepy Cat Dry White. It is a dry Niagara. And although it wasn't so dry that it didn't have those obvious Niagara flavors, it was still much less sweet than usual. Mm-hmm. This is just a great example of a traditionally sweet wine transitioning to a drier kind of wine. So I think it really will appeal to a lot of people. It had a lot of those distinctive Niagara flavors. And I just think it can be enjoyed by everybody.
Yeah, I think this is a good group pick because it does have a wide range of appeal because it was a drier Niagara. I really enjoyed this as well. I noted it actually had a little bit of nice acidity to it, which I wasn't expecting for a Niagara. And I think I got some notes of like a little bit of earthiness from like that kind of grape off the vine feel and a little bit of green apple. But I thought it was overall was a really good wine.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a fabulous wine. I'm a fan of Niagaras in general. Steve's getting me in touch with these drier Niagaras, and this one was just superb. And yeah, some nice acidity, some green apple notes in there, and one that, especially if you're a dry white drinker, this is definitely a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, I'm starting to like, because I always love the flavor of the Niagara grape, but I always just, they're just too sweet for me.
A little too sweet.
Yeah, sometimes I drink. But yeah, I'm loving these dry and semi-dry ones that we're starting to come across, and this was just a really good example.
Yeah. All right, well, that's our first pick. Holly, why don't you give us our second group pick?
Okay. It is called the Feline Fine Fredonia. Okay,
say that 3 times fast.
Feline Fine Fredonia. Feline Fine Fredonia. Feline Fine Fredonia.
Yeah. I have joked in the past that you 2 need to start a Fredonia fan club. If it's on the menu, usually one of the 2 of you will select it. And I'm like neutral on them. Like, it's not that I don't like Fredonias. They just never tend to be one of my personal favorites. Until today. I really like this one. It does start a little sweet, but then it finishes nice and tart with some really wonderful grape flavors, and one I just thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, I love a good Fredonia. Not gonna lie. This Feline Fine Fredonia has just an amazing aroma. That was the first bit I noticed. I just really love that aroma. And it just gives a nice bit of sweetness to start, but leaves you with this good tartness in the finish. It's just a really nice balance.
Mm-hmm.
My notes was simply this. Excellent Fredonia.
Yeah.
I love Fredonias, and this was just a really good Fredonia. So
I love how popular they're getting in Pennsylvania.
Well, it's kind of an offshoot of the Concord. It's not quite as sweet, but it still has a lot of those classic grapey flavors to it.
Yeah, and it's got some tartness. It's got a little bit more acidity. It's just it's a much tamed down version of a Concord, that is. So yeah, love them.
All right, so those are our group picks. I think I'll kick us off with our individual picks now. So my first pick is called Gemini. This is a semi-sweet white wine from the Geisenheim grape. And I looked it up. The Geisenheim grape is a hybrid grape crossed from the Riesling and the Chancellor. So it's, again, one of those kind of Germanish type grapes and ones that I typically gravitate toward. This just had a wonderful aroma. There was flavors of melon and apple, was smooth, maybe a touch of acidity in the finish. But I also do want to note that they have a Gemini 2 wine, which is just a little sweeter version of this. And this was a semi-sweet version, but it was a really good white wine.
Yeah, I actually have to say I prefer the Gemini too, which is weird because usually, like with the Niagara, for example, in the last one, if there is a dry and a sweet version of a wine, I tend to lean towards the drier version. I actually kind of like the sweeter version of this one for some reason. Yes, it was sweet, so it was one of those ones I couldn't do in large doses, but there was a really wonderful pear flavor in that sweet one, that Gemini 2, and I just love pear. So I actually was going to maybe give it an honorable mention, so I'll just honorable mention it here since we're talking about the Gemini. But I mean, I think if, again, 2, 1, whatever, try it. They were worth trying.
Yeah, I like them both, but I kind of actually agree with Holly on this. I usually prefer a semi-sweet over a sweet, but I don't know, the infusion of pear is really, I think, what tipped me over the balance.
I think the pear flavor popped a little bit more in that sweet version than
it did, and that's what I really liked that. So, but they were both really good.
They both were good.
Yeah, they were really good. Okay, so my first individual pick is the Allen Street Riesling. So this is an off-dry Riesling, and the name comes from Mark, who attended Penn State, and Allen Street is a busy street in State College, which is something that we can all appreciate from because we all have ties to the State College area in Penn State. It was different than typical Riesling, though. Like, I don't think first sip I would have known it was a Riesling. It had a lot of green apple in the smell, and I got that in the taste, as well as I think I got some tropical notes. There was something unique about this Riesling that I enjoyed and thought it was worth mentioning because it was one of my favorites of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we've been coming across some good Rieslings lately between our trips with Erie and now here. And this one, I mean, there were so many good wines at this winery that this was rated really high on my list, and I almost made it as one of my picks. So I'm glad somebody's talking about the Allen Street Riesling because it was a good off-dry Riesling.
All right, so I'll finish us out, and I'm going to go with their Double Trouble. So this is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc, which... It's funny that here I am picking a dry red.
That's my area.
But yeah, this was a great blend. It's a mix of French and Hungarian oaks, which is also very interesting. I love a good French oak, and I haven't really come across a lot of Hungarian, and I just thought that blending of those oaks added to some really nice flavor. You'll taste some good raspberry flavors up front, and it just finishes nice and decently dry with a nice bit of tannins. It's just all around a great blend, and I think I drank actually most of the sample, so I apologize for that.
Never apologize. This one gets my endorsement as well because as the dry red drinker of the group, this was a good dry blend and definitely worth checking out.
All right, so I'm going to kick us off with number 2 pick.
Hey, Steve, why don't you go the opposite end of the
I'm
spectrum?
going to do exactly that. How fortunate. I'm going to go with one of their sweetest wines. It's the Peaches and Mango.
That's a good pick, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, I mean, when we just heard the name, we had to try. It's just, I don't know. When I first saw it, I'm like, Peaches and Mango. I'm not 100% if those two fruits are going to go together well, but... Ooh. Oh, yeah, they just did. So it is pretty sweet. It's 10.5%. It's a mixture of peaches and mangoes, obviously. It just has this beautiful peach aroma to start. I didn't really get a lot of mangoes, but I don't think mangoes have a ton of aroma.
It's a subtle thing.
What's best about this wine and what makes it so unique from my perspective is you get most of the peach up front, and it sort of tastes like you're just drinking a very nice peach wine. And you get most of the mango in the finish. And that transition between the two fruits is just perfect. It's so unique. I just wouldn't have thought these two fruits would have worked this well together. But yeah, this is great. I normally would probably not pick a wine this sweet as one of my 2 picks, but I don't care if you're only a dry drinker. You should at least take a chance at this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I almost considered it as well because it really was that good. Yes, it is sweet, but you're right. The fruit is so well balanced in it, you kind of forget about, would this be a wine I would drink like glass after glass all day long? Probably not. Maybe on a hot day, but I'd still drink it. But I'm with you. I think what you said, the transitions too from the peach to the mango, because you get that peach up front and the mango is great. But I also got a little bit of the cream in the finish too for me, which I really appreciated. But yeah, it's a really well crafted wine.
Yeah, I mean, I think we considered it even as a group pick because I know the three of us enjoyed it. It was a little sweet, but man, those peaches and mangoes are two of my favorite fruit flavorings, and it just worked well. And
yeah, and those two fruits, they were impeccably done in that wine.
a little bit more on that, I think, coming later in this episode. My second pick is the Alley Cat Agua. So as the name suggests, it's a Catawba wine. Now, this is listed as a sweet wine, so here I go picking a semi-sweet and a sweet wine for my two picks.
Yeah, and I'm picking the dry red.
Right.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. Summer, I get more into, wanting sweeter wines, but this had just a sweet aroma to it. It had a nice bit of tartness in the finish. This wasn't a pink Catawba that Steve and I typically enjoy. This was a straight up Catawba, so it was white wine. But man, this is just a great example of how the Catawba can be made in a sweeter variety and still be really good.
Yeah, this was still nice. I do like the pink Catawbas. I think that little bit of skin contact adds something, but this one was actually quite good, and it still gave some nice tartness. I even got like some apple in the finish, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it was a unique.
Yeah, I do love the Catawba grape, and they did a good job with this one.
So you guys will start a Catawba fan club when your Fredonia one.
Leave us alone. We like what we like.
No, I know. I said no judgment.
You can have your Pinot Grigio.
And my Sauv Blancs. And
Hey, I do like a good Sauv Blanc.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to round us off with the individual picks, and my second individual pick is their Sedona. Now, it's named for one of their cats, though myself visiting the famous town in Arizona, I have to say I really like the name even more because of that. Good town, good cat, great name. Now, this was a red wine served chilled, and it was made from the Chancellor grape. It's off-dry with some tartness, but it was smooth, and it had a lot, and I mean a lot of nut flavor. This nut flavor was obvious. It's not something I would expect from a chilled red that made it stand out. And they actually suggest trying that with peanut M&Ms, and I did, and I have to say, that's a great combination.
It was good.
This could be an after-dinner snack. That wine and some peanut M&Ms, I'm set.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That nuttiness was a really interesting surprise in that wine, and it did blend well. I kind of want to try with a peanut M&M, not a peanut butter M&M.
It was a peanut M&M.
Was it? I thought I got a peanut butter one.
Maybe they had both.
Maybe they did.
Yeah,
mine was a peanut.
Mine was a peanut M&M.
Or maybe my brain is just malfunctioning. Too much wine.
Or not enough. One of them.
Yeah, that was really good. I would try that again just for the uniqueness of it, but it tasted delicious too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so those are our group picks. I'll just throw out an honorable mention here. Their Moonlight Meow is their Merlot. Kind of hinted at earlier. It wasn't really ready for bottling just then. Actually, I think he was in the process of bottling it, or he had a bottle left over, and he let me try some of it, or all of us try some of it. And man, that was a good Merlot. It's a classic dry red, silky smooth, those cherry and plum flavors, good amount of tannins. But again, while we were there, he didn't have any ready to sale, but I'm sure by the time this episode comes out, they will have some in their tasting room to try.
Yeah.
Any other honorable mentions?
I mean, I know I mentioned the Gemini 2 earlier, and I think anything else that I had been considering, you guys had covered. So
Yeah.
I think we're good.
I kind of feel that same way.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, they had some wonderful wines there. And just because we only listed a few, go check them out and try the rest. All right, Steve, why don't you give us some of their award-winning and bestsellers?
Yeah, so in terms of the bestsellers, it does kind of depend on the time of the year. We've said that a lot ourselves, a little more sweet in the summer, a little more dry in the winter. But their Smokies Midnight Treat, which is a Concord Fredonia blend, their Brisby's blend, which is a Concord and Niagara blend, and their Peaches and Mango are their best sellers. And Peaches and Mango by a lot. Yeah. This wine has won a lot of awards. Mark said that there were 6 competitions he entered in the last 2 years. One show, it won the Best in Show 2 years in a row, which that particular competition has literally never seen. So that says a lot. He also mentioned there's been a bunch of smaller competitions where it's won 3 in a row and Best in Fruit Wine. So if you didn't agree with it being one of my picks because you thought it was a little sweet, it is definitely one of their best award winning. So I think you should give it a try.
Yeah.
If nothing else, just the uniqueness of it is worth a visit there.
I don't think you'll be disappointed. Give it a shot. Everybody else loves it.
All right, well, that's our take on this wonderful cat-themed winery in the Lehigh Valley. Even if cats aren't your thing, they have a wonderful selection of wines ranging from dry to sweet, whites, reds, and blushes. They truly have something for everyone. We just want to again say thank you to the owners, Mark and Carrie, for a lovely experience and time at the tasting room. For more information on the Sleepy Cat Urban Winery, you can visit their website at sleepycaturbanwinery.com. You can also check them out on Facebook or Instagram. And speaking of Facebook and Instagram, we would love it if you would check us out on Facebook and Instagram pages and give us a like and follow. We would also love it if you would drop us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast and tell others about us. Join us next month on the first Wine Wednesday as we feature another wonderful Pennsylvania winery. Until then, cheers.
Thanks for listening to Wine Time PA with your host Rob, Holly, and Steve. We hope you enjoyed our take on Pennsylvania wineries and all that they have to offer. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast. Also, be sure to follow them on social media for updates and news. Remember, when it comes to wine, drink what you love.